everyone, I'm Celeste. Welcome to my BookTube channel, A Reader's Almanac with Celeste. And today I'm excited to bring you my TBR for Jane Austen, July 2024. I love Jane Austen and I'm excited that so many people also love her and want to celebrate her life. And Jane Austen July is a yearly month-long readathon where we show Jane Austen all the love and we read her books and we immerse ourselves in her era and her life, and we learn a little bit about her contemporaries. Now this is a readathon which is co-hosted each year by Katie from Books and Things, Marissa from Blatantly Bookish, and Claudia from Spinster's Library. I will post the links to their announcement videos in the comments down below. So the first prompt or challenge for Jane Austen July 2024 is to read one of Jane Austen's main novels, and the group read for 2024 is Sense and Sensibility. Ironically, I have 4 or 5 different copies of Sense and Sensibility. Ironic because it was the one novel I had never read before by Jane Austen. I had this lovely Penguin edition of Sense and Sensibility. Love that cover. They're classic. I also have this lovely vintage edition. These are just beautiful. I love these covers. So I have that one. And then I have this one from Barnes and Noble. This was actually a price sticker. Unfortunately, on some of their books they use permanent stickers. Why? But otherwise it's a beautiful edition, and this one is actually illustrated. I'll just open it up to one of the illustrations for you here, and so I thought that was really pretty. So I have that one. And then actually the one that I ended up reading, because I have already read Sense and Sensibility this past week, is this Vintage Classics edition. And I just love these with their paperback, but they also have sort of the French flap. And I love the inside of these. I just love the design. And I have actually the entire set of those, as you can see there. So the challenge was to read this, and I actually alternated between reading the text and also listening to it on Audible, narrated by Rosamund Pike, and she did a really good job narrating it. It was very engaging. This was Jane Austen's first published novel, and it came out in 1811. If you don't know, Sense and Sensibility is the story of 3 sisters, but 2 in particular. There is a little sister, but she doesn't enter into the story very often. The 2 older sisters that are particularly dealt with in this story are Eleanor and Marianne Dashwood. Eleanor is the more practical. She is the one with sense, and she is more restrained. She uses common sense. She uses economy. The other sister, Marianne, is more emotional, more passionate. She lives by the philosophy of sensibility, or feeling her emotion. They are living on a limited budget, and they have a sort of reversal of fortune and go to live in a small cottage. And this is the story of the people that they meet, and ultimately unions and partnerships which occur around them, showing how you really need a happy dose of both sense and sensibility. You need a marriage of both sense and sensibility in order to be happiest. So yeah, Sense and Sensibility, great story. I wouldn't say it was my absolute favorite of all of her novels. I don't know. It was good. It's kind of growing on me. Yeah, so there's that. Then the next challenge was to read something by Jane Austen, which is not one of her 6 main novels. And so this year I'll be dipping into her selected letters. If you watch my channel, you know that I love first-person accounts. I love letters, journals, diaries, things like that. And so this collection should be just perfect. And this is published by Oxford University Press. It's a beautiful cover. I really love it. And I'm looking forward to this. And I've already started reading some of these, and they really are fascinating, especially her correspondence, with Cassandra, talking about Tom Lefroy and the people that she meets. She has a really wicked sense of humor sometimes. I really appreciate that about her. So the third prompt or challenge for Jane Austen July is to read a nonfiction work about Jane Austen or her time. I have many nonfiction sources on Jane Austen's era, but I'm going to just suggest a few possibilities for you this time around. And the first suggestion is a wonderfully simple and lovely way to fulfill this prompt and to enjoy the Jane Austen era. And that's Jane Austen's Regency World magazine. This is a very small, slim little magazine. It comes out bi-monthly. It's published in Bath in the UK, and it's a wonderful option for anyone who wants to learn more about social history, how tea was served in the day, how to plan an 18th century garden, the Napoleonic Wars. There are Janeite academics and scholars who give book reviews of Jane Austen related books. This would be a great gift to give a friend a subscription to. Back issues are also available on their website, and it's just a really fun little magazine to dip in and out of. Here's a little article on steam power in Jane Austen's time. And what else? Let's see. Let me just find something here. Costumes. This is about the character of Jack Aubrey in the Master and Commander books. So just all kinds of little facets related to the Jane Austen era. So if you're just looking for something a little bit simpler to dip in and out of rather than a big nonfiction tome that's like 400 pages, then Jane Austen's Regency World might be a good option for you. Now, because it is from the UK, you will wait a while to see the beginning of your subscription, but it would be a great Christmas gift to give somebody, and then they would start getting it with the January issue. So something to consider. I'd also like to suggest that instead of reading a whole other text on the Jane Austen era, you might also want to consider an annotated edition. Now, I do not have the Sense and Sensibility annotated hardback, but I will show you, just by way of an example, Persuasion, which is one I recently picked up. Wait for it. I paid $7 for this, that's all. And it is so beautiful. This is from Bennet Press through Harvard University, and I just love their hardcover annotated editions. I want all of them. And this one was available, as I said, for $7 on eBay. And what I love about this is you can read the text of the story, but at the same time, there's all kinds of call-outs and paintings and illustrations which tell you about life back in the day. So while you're reading the Jane Austen novel, you are also learning about her time. And it explains lots of references from the stories. Here's some little illustrations. I'll show you this, if I can turn it around here. Isn't it beautiful? Terminology explained and lots of things. So I love annotated editions. So you could kill two birds with one stone if you bought an annotated edition of Sense and Sensibility. Next up is a book that I first introduced last year. This is from Pen and Sword Press. It is called What Regency Women Did for Us. This is by Rachel Knowles. This is a marvelous, what I would consider to be like a gateway drug to Jane Austen nonfiction to learn about the era. It includes just little introductory overview chapters on some of the women who lived and accomplished things during the Regency. So, for example, we have Eleanor Code, the king's stonemaker. We have the accidental astronomer, Caroline Herschel. There are actresses. There is Elizabeth Fry, who was called the Angel of the Prisons. And two of my personal favorites would be the fossilist Mary Anning. Loved the story of Mary Anning, who found fossils along the Jurassic coast and was so instrumental and uncredited in Darwin's work and his theory of evolution. And also the waxworks queen herself, Madame Tussaud, who is one of my favorite figures from history. I think her life is absolutely fascinating. And if you want to start learning a little bit about Madame Tussaud with just an introductory chapter on her life, this would be a great place to start. And in the middle, it does have this little oasis of photos and illustrations to break up the text. So this is a great one for learning about the Regency. You could, of course, also look at something like Jane Austen at Home. This is Lucy Worsley's marvelous biography of Jane Austen's life, and it's told mainly through the provenance of small objects that Jane owned or that were in Jane's life. Writing pens, finger rings, fans, things like that. It is a marvelous read, and I highly recommend this. I read this last summer, but if you've never read anything about Jane Austen's life, this is really good. And then, of course, there is a beautiful fashion tome called Dress in the Age of Jane Austen. This is Regency Fashion by Hilary Davidson. This book is swoon-worthy. If you love costume, if you love historical fashion, oh my goodness. First of all, look at the end papers here. Is this not just marvelous? And the text and the pictures do not disappoint. Let me just open it up and I'll try to find you some of the gorgeousness that is this book. Let's see. Okay, I'll show you this one. So here's an example of a gown from her time. And then I'll find another photo to show you. Oh, there's all kinds of things in here. Illustrations and timelines. Look at this one. Gorgeous yellows. Perfect for summer. It's just a really beautiful and well done scholarly work on fashion from this era, from the Regency era and Jane Austen's time. Then the next prompt, the fourth prompt, is to read a retelling of a Jane Austen book or a book set in Jane Austen's time. And so I had chosen The Other Bennet Sister by Janice Hadlow. I did start talking about this in my last video for the mid-year freakout tag, and I have finished this book now. It is so marvelous, and I did talk about it at pretty good length in the last video, so you may want to check that out. But in a nutshell, it is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice from the perspective of Mary Bennet. I love retellings. I love, for example, the story of Beowulf, but told from the monster's point of view. Pride and Prejudice, told from Mary's point of view. Poor Mary in Pride and Prejudice is often scapegoated. We learn about her backstory and why she is the way she is and why she she might answer and respond the way she does. We learn about how she's always sort of knocked down in the pecking order of her family, and how she's sort of timid and afraid to answer because she's afraid she'll get mocked and ridiculed and made to feel less. And this is such a deep dive into her world, her mind, and her persona. And we learn why she projects as dry and boring sometimes. Well, she's guarding her heart. And in The Other Bennet Sister, we get to see her grow, mature, come of age, and really find herself. And I was just rooting for her all the way. It is so good. And Janice Hadlow can switch gears so easily, going from being an excellent history writer to being a novelist. And in fact, I heard through the grapevine that Janice Hadlow has a long-awaited and long overdue new book coming out later this year, which I am so excited about. It's supposedly about a scandal involving a duchess in the Regency era. So we'll see what that's all about. But in the interim, The Other Bennet Sister, marvelous. And I just love it. Now, there is another book which is being released this summer. It's a retelling of Mansfield Park, and I love Mansfield Park. In fact, Mansfield Park, I'm not sure if it's my favorite or not. It could be. It's right up there. But there is a retelling of Mansfield Park coming out called This Motherless Land, and that is by the author Nikki May. I adore Mansfield Park. I would love to check out this novel, but truthfully, I have so many things on my TBR list that truthfully, honestly, probably I will not get to this retelling until probably next July. And I have a feeling that next summer is going to be a Mansfield Park Jane Austen July, for me at least, because I have over the past several years on my channel now read all of the other Jane Austens, and Mansfield Park is the one that I have remaining. So maybe next year in the summertime I will read Mansfield Park and then do the retelling This Motherless Land to see how that is. Okay, moving along. The fifth prompt for Jane Austen July is to read a book by a contemporary of Jane Austen that is published between 1775 and 1817. For this, I'll be reading some of the selected poems of William Wordsworth. And I love Dorothy Wordsworth, who was his sister, and they lived in the Lake District in the UK, and he is a marvelous romantic poet. I don't know what I would consider my favorite William Wordsworth poems, but I guess if I had to name three that I would recommend you check out, let's see. Some favorites of mine would be The Ruined Cottage. That would be one. Tintern Abbey, which is also known as Lines Written a Few Miles Above Tintern Abbey. And then there's another one which I would consider a ballad. You could put it to music and sing it very easily. It's a very sad story, and that is Lucy Gray. So those are some titles in William Wordsworth's selected poems to check out. I would also highly recommend checking out some of the journals and letters of Fanny Bernie. Fanny Bernie is marvelous. She was the dresser to the Queen Charlotte, in the French court before the French Revolution. And she is also, of course, the author of novels which inspired Jane Austen, such as Evelina. And her journals are just fascinating. And I have a video from about a year ago, spring, where I read all about the court of Louis and Queen Charlotte and the French Revolution and Madame Tussaud. And Fanny Bernie is a figure from that era, which is not long before the Jane Austen era. And she was definitely an influence on Jane Austen for sure. I think Pride and Prejudice was influenced in part by the novel Cecilia. I have not read Cecilia, but I just love looking at her journals and letters. They're fascinating. She talks about the daily routine at court, and it's marvelous first-person material. So check that out as well. Prompt number 6 is to watch a direct screen adaptation of a Jane Austen book. So I rewatched the 2008 version of Sense and Sensibility, and that is the one with Dan Stevens. I liked it. I really enjoyed that. In fact, truth be told, that really helped me to appreciate the novel more, because I was having a little bit of a tough going with the novel. I really liked the movie, and it helped me to appreciate the book more. And then, there's 7 prompts. I think I had said 6 before. The last one is to watch a modern screen adaptation or retelling. And for this one, where is it? Here we go. Ooh, let me see if I can get it. Here we go. I got it. This is not a modern retelling of an original Jane Austen story. This is also sort of along the lines of the other Bennet sister. It's like a modern screen adaptation of a retelling of a retelling. A retelling of a retelling, but it was the movie version of P.D. James' Death Comes to Pemberley, and this is the hardcover. This is by P.D. James, Mistress of Crime, and I love this book, and I love the TV version. I know some purist Janeites don't like the actor and actress in that, Matthew Rhys and Anna Maxwell Martin. I think they're wonderful, and I really enjoy watching it as sort of a gothic twist on the Pride and Prejudice story. This takes place in 1803, and it is 6 years after Darcy and Elizabeth marry, and mystery, intrigue, and murder come to Pemberley. And it's just a great deal of fun, and I love this picture on the front of the hardcover too. So I rewatched that recently. I watched that, I would say, like once a year. Anyway, that's everything I have for today. I hope you're all doing well. I did want to apologize that I have been putting out videos sporadically, kind of irregular. It's been a very busy summer. I had some trouble uploading things from my camera because I cracked it. I dropped it and cracked it. And so sometimes it's kind of funky when it uploads, or I've lost some of the footage that I had taken. It was also the 4th of July holiday here in the United States, so I was very worn out from doing a lot of cooking for that, and so I appreciate your bearing with me. I will try to put out videos more regularly on the day that I promise they're coming out, so that would be, at this point, Fridays. And I will also try to put out some additional shorts, tags, little mini videos, and other fun stuff, maybe on some Tuesdays. So that's everything for today. I hope you're having a great summer. I hope you're staying cool. I hope you're reading something wonderful. Please do let me know in the comments below if you're reading any Jane Austen or what you're reading this month. I always love to hear that, and I always love suggestions for books to read. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.